Yeah. Hello. Welcome to DevKami number 161. It's a New Year Eve episode, I think. Yeah, it is. Tomorrow is New Year Eve. Close enough. So my name is Swimming,
And I am Tristan.
and Sheila will be joining us later. Today we try to predict the future. Unfortunately, before that, let's start with our news and events. I can only say this, right? There is only one thing that is important here. That would be any event would start next year because tomorrow is Eve and there's no one that's doing event for during the Eve. So yeah. So we have Ruby Tuesday as usual. Then Tech Up will have something middle of January, and that's about the event that we have. So let's start with content. So let's start with this. There's a reason why I'm not putting this on our page yet because I just finished the script within 1 hour or so. So what this does is I had a script that using NLTK to rank sentences, and from there we will try to build a bus corner maker. So I will show the script later. I will actually show the script later, but first let's talk about what this content is about. So as you can see, so far the summarizer is pretty useless because this is just an introduction, whereas this content is actually how to get started with QGIS, PostgreSQL, and PostGIS. So if you want to do GIS, this is actually one of the standard way for you to do it. QGIS is the GIS analysis tool. PostgreSQL is, of course, our favorite database. And PostGIS is the extension that allows you to actually do GIS analysis. So people usually use QGIS and PostGIS together. And OSM is OpenStreetMap data because that's the open source database. So yeah, because PostGIS doesn't do maps, use QGIS to deploy the map. So this is actually pretty standard, but a lot of people in our community do not necessarily know this. So I recommend that you guys look this up. You can actually see this in our Buzz Corner data, the latest one, the end of the year one, and the link. I will share the link somehow. So yes. Anything to add? If not, I'm going to move on.
No, let's move on.
So this one is also interesting because I already have some doubt whether it's a legit setup. So what this does is this deploys a email server, a Gmail email server. So setup droplet. This is all the standard stuff.
But it's easy to set up like a mailbox anyway. Like most Linux distributions have like send
Correct.
mail or like an inbox postbox. I forgot. Like there's a default package for sending for creating an inbox.
Correct.
So what does this do special? Like what's special about this?
You actually open up a server for you to send email to your system. So by default, the mailboxes on your system, is it actually open to public? I don't think so, right?
Well, you can set it up when you're configuring it. You can set it so it's only local, private network, open to the internet. Usually, you don't want to do that because otherwise you become like like an open relay for spam. But yeah, like if you're running a Linux box, you'll see that you are receiving mail from internal stuff. So that's why I'm asking, like, what's special about this? Like,
so
it's just like a list of instructions?
This is a list of instructions, and more importantly, this person uses Docker mail server to set up. So it's not just, it's more like something that you're not connected to your system email. So this is actually just an example mostly, right? Use another directory, not just something for within your internal mail system. Use on Linux. So this is something like personal use and not system use. So yeah, and the new thing here to me is how you can use Docker to make it easy for you to run this. So this is actually new to me, and with IMAP and all that. So yeah, so I think it's a bad idea, but if this fancies you, you can do it. Just know that the reason why people don't create our own mail server is because this thing tend to be a security risk. And it's actually people don't actually trust the mailbox anyway, so it sometimes ends up as a spam box. So something to think about. So
Well,
that being
rather
said,
than that, it's actually because people don't trust the mail that you're sending out. So you can
correct.
receive mail, but like you just need to set your
Yep.
MX in your domain, right? And then people can send you mail as long as you have that package. But once you start
Correct.
sending mail out, people won't trust you. They'll automatically send your whatever you're sending out to spam and probably blacklist your IP
Yep.
in some list or something. So
Yep.
that's usually why you would rather have something like SendGrid or some other MailChimp or
Yes.
some other email sending program or platform,
Mm-hmm.
because other email receiving platforms will trust those platforms instead.
Yeah.
So like you can even do something like AWS what send the thing that AWS does.
SES
Yeah.
service.
And
Yep. It's called the send email
and
service.
most of the email that you send there as well, not most, but sometimes it will end up in spam because not all of the IP addresses from SES are whitelisted, and it's easy to abuse all of these
Correct.
things. So this is just
Correct.
how it is. Like you can go and do your own IP cleaning, IP warm up, and all of these things. If you hang out in a lot of the marketing forums and platforms, you'll hear a lot about all of these things because this is very important in email
Yes.
marketing. And so, yeah,
Correct.
receiving email it's fine,
Yep.
but
Sending is
I
another story
mean,
altogether.
sending is a different story, and that's
Yep.
one of the powers of Gmail is that most of the time, if you have a Gmail address, your email will arrive at the sender,
Yep.
and because
Correct.
Gmail takes care of all of the uh, se- uh, checking of whether this is
Yes.
a legit email or not.
Even as Amazon SES will actually do it for you if you send things out. So and it will send it to the right place. So I mean, this is interesting for learning, but not by much. If really serious about email, use third-party services. So next one is Ruby 3.1.0 is released. So this one feature a new JIT compiler, a new debugger, uh, which is actually very cool. I like this debugger. It's not the Python one is a bit bland to be honest. So it's a language problem. Then fine grained error location backtrace. I actually struggle with this in Rails, but let's see whether it's improved. So this is actually one of the things that I'm bit struggling. Then of course you got autocomplete and all that lah. So yeah,
If you're
what?
one thing is if you're struggling with that, your line is doing too many things. Like you're
Yes,
trying to golf your way into it, or someone who wrote that line is golfing, like they're
yeah,
putting in too many calls to functions rather than expanding it out, then it makes it easier to read and to also debug. So if
yes,
you're debugging something like that and you can't find the error because the line's too complicated, it's just extract them out and move them into different lines. Then you will know which
yeah.
actual line is the problem.
But what the team also do is they use one of those BDD tests as a test case, which I also hate. So possibly that as well. I'm still looking into that because one of the things I need to look at is better error handling and logging. Most of the basic one is fine. So for example, database connection error, those are obvious. It's where things running tests. So I think it less of a problem with Ruby itself. It's more of a layering by the guys when they build the application. So as they add layers, the thing just get very confusing.
Yeah, so most of the time the problems that people attribute to Rails are not actually Rails problems. It's an architecture
Yeah,
problem. Like people,
yeah,
most of the time it's a people problem.
yes, because I can see some of the obvious error is obvious, so I can see that. So it's the test error that is not obvious, which annoys the hell out of
Hmm.
me. So that being said, Ruby, a lot of interesting improvement. If you, I suggest as usual, if you can update it. Chances is you should update it anyway. So yeah,
Well, probably
and it
not yet if you're doing
really
production because this is still, yeah, usually we wait for a few months for new point releases before you actually move to the new, like you
okay,
move your production to a new point release. Unless there's a critical bug
really
fix.
interesting,
Yeah, I mean,
interesting because
there's you're moving a minor point release for something that you haven't really checked out yet. Like this is a new
yeah,
uh, JIT compiler. You have to at least benchmark whether your code is even going to benefit from the compiler, right? Because you have a stable production system,
yeah,
keep it stable, and then do a staging upgrade and see. So you don't immediately upgrade.
yeah,
Is what I'm saying. And
yeah, yeah,
you
yeah. I mean,
usually only
it's a
immediately
best
upgrade if
practice.
it's a minor, sorry, a patch release, like a
Yeah,
3.1.x, the X one. That
And
is an
not
immediate
everything,
upgrade,
not
yeah,
not
and
a
not
point one.
everything is using semantics version.
yeah. Correct.
Well,
So
Ruby is, so that's why it's and most of the Ruby
yeah,
gems are.
yeah. So I mean, we can if we want to because so the Python guys, we can if we want to because we know it's pretty stable and we can move it if we want to. So we just say we can. So let's move on. This is actually an interesting story, and I actually heard about this. General Magic is actually a company that spin off from Apple, and a lot of the people come from Magic ends up working on the iPhone much later. They have a lot of new idea at that time. I would say also independent, but they build mobile interfaces, make a mobile user environment before smartphone exists. Well, which is arguable because Symbian exists around that time. Uh, the then Assistant exists around the time. Cyan exists around the time. But that being said, they try, they make something interesting, and a lot of the idea and the experience from them ends up uh, ends up ends up on the iPhone. So yeah, a very cool history lesson. Not many people in my circle know that, but the Apple fan would actually know this. So yes. So anything to add on this?
Nope,
Uh, I,
not so
I
much.
suggest you. I suggest that you read the story. It's actually a very good story. So yeah, and this is actually one reason why Apple people do consider them to own the mobile thing. So yeah, cool story by the way. So this one is also interesting, mostly only to me. I'm trying to keep things fast, so I'm going to just say this. This is actually the speech data set that and this yet another one, but this one actually have a bigger set for people to talk and all that because Google one is had a very small subset. And this is actually multilingual. This is really interesting because the world do not only speak English. Then of course you got a performance benchmark for data centric AI. So this is actually a common data set that you can use for research on project. So, and this organization is a third party organization, so it does not belong to a company, only one company. So it support. So this one interesting to me because we're friend of Hussein. So, but unfortunately, Malay is not part of this. Indonesian is, but Malay is not. So yeah, let's see how it goes. I'm looking forward to this. So next one is Lastpass Attack. Lastpass claim no password compromise. Some people claim that it does. So change the password if you need to, if you're on LastPass. Use two-factor authentication, etc. So basic rules apply, to be honest.
No,
Basic
the
rules.
the problem here is that the breach is because the attackers are trying to use the same email and password as with other
Correct.
accounts. So
Correct.
the people who are affected are the ones who use the same passwords and emails for or usernames for all the accounts that they have. Like your YouTube,
Correct.
your
Correct.
Gmail username password is the same as your your LinkedIn, and the same as
Yep.
your LastPass. Your password manager is the same as what your email is. So that is a problem, and which is why what LastPass actually did is good, because they prevented people from logging in, even if they knew the username and password. They prevented people from logging in because it's from a different IP from the country that you're usually accessing it with. So
Correct.
that's
Correct.
why what they did is good, and it's not a problem by LastPass. The problem is people
Correct.
blowing this up. So you shouldn't
Yes.
punish LastPass for them doing the right thing.
Correct. So
Especially when they do a disclosure.
yes. So either way, you should enable your two-factor when you can and all that. So I'm going to quickly do this. Tailwind CSS, start with both for Python. That's it. Then the last one is actually the last one is we had an internet connection problem. I do not know whether it's fixed. So internet might be slow. It might be resolved soon. Actually, I do not know what happened. So they're trying, but I do not. We do not know whether the cable will be fixed. So till then, we have to wait lah. Then this one is bad because so this is actually quite okay image compression. It's not the best. It's just okay. This is why it's called quite okay. So this one is interesting to me because they have the specification. It's simply ish compared to other, and there's multiple implementation. So yeah, stupid simple. I feel like 300 line of C. So it's just quite okay, but it's interesting. Then Pit Warden quickly as well because this is actually a new thing for you guys. So this is actually why ML compiler is hard. The TLDR is because machine learning compiler had to do a lot more things. So it's not it's not. So machine learning, your neural network is layers, and optimizing those layers is hard because each layer is very distinct. So even when you look at things that do similar things like image recognition, so the layer can be very different at the same time. So it's not always easy to compile. It's a TLDR. And there's a lot of layer. Why so many layer? Because in the 90s, people discovered that the more layer you put on your neural network, the better it is to able to differentiate different things. So the technology is there. More people is building compilers for it to optimize deep learning network, but it's a hard problem to solve. This one I do not know why. Oh, this one is it's not JavaScript. Yeah, it is JavaScript. SIGGRAPH. This is yet another abstraction. This is yet another abstraction for creating mathematical diagram. So you're talking about different type of abstraction. So talking about point and segments and how do you build your data visualization using this abstraction. But this abstraction is not in a known language because I do not know what language can support this, to be honest. So I need to find out a few more detail for this. So yeah, this is actually something for maths, but knowing that maths and a lot of the things like say deep learning engineering, so I can see application outside of just pure mathematics. Maybe we can use this to do a bit of code. Nah, I don't think so. So yeah, yet another abstraction for building mathematical graphics, which I'm actually looking forward to. And finally, Maui's shell. This is yet another desktop shell based on KDE that you can use for mobile application, desktop at the same time. So this is for your mobile, small devices, desktop. So this one is actually built for NX, but is ongoing, and for me, I'm very excited to new desktop technology. So yes, Maui shell. So anything to add before I'm going to talk about ask you guys to predict the future? Because I'm not going to cover what we predicted last year actually. I mean, who's keeping score? Right?
I forgot actually.
I mean, who's keeping score, right? So, hype.
Yeah.
So, innovation vaccine delivery, nonsense, nothing changed. Yeah, VR is more portable. Actually, this is partially true, actually.
Metaverse.
Yeah, correct. And
cheaper.
There's a few it's cheaper, but not glass size.
But it's just cheaper, but not really until it's more diverse. It's still pretty much dominated by Oculus.
Correct. Better response didn't happen.
Nah,
the flood is a bloody mess. This one didn't see much, not my area. Yeah, I'm not married yet, so.
It's a sucky. Yeah.
Companion robot, nothing happened on this. Cheaper flexible screen, very close. Yeah, very close actually. Very close. Samsung releases.
Even there's a lot of screen innovation this year. Even the color e-ink are getting cheaper.
Yes, and flexible screen on your phone is ridiculous. The price is still ridiculous. It's still around 6,000 ringgit. But some of the manufacturers are making a foldable phone for 3,000 ringgit. So yes, it's happening soon. It's actually happening soon. So this is actually not bad.
Yeah.
Autonomous car
not really, but the car purchase got uptake because of COVID.
AI will be a thing next year. Actually, it's partially true. Because
of metaverse.
yeah, and people are doing AR. I already covered multiple AR technology. Niantic releases a SDK. There's a few glasses in the market now. There's always the rumor of the Apple glasses, so it's coming. I think this can continue in 2022. This one very confusing.
Not yet.
Yes.
No,
not really.
I think it's because the James Webb telescope got delayed over and over.
Correct.
It was launched, and so now maybe we'll finally get like groundbreaking discovery because, James Webb just has been delayed multiple times.
Yeah, and currently James Webb is being deployed, as in that the deployment is still working. So they just raised the tower, and they extended within the next few days. They will extend the site to actually start to unfold the heat shield, the solar deflectors, and all that. That is the scary part because that is actually very thin. It's a very thin layer. So when the first unfold, they actually rip for the first time. But as it turns out, to learn something this size and cheap and light, they have no choice. So they continue with this plan, and it's damn scary.
Yeah. So JWST hopefully. Around
September. It will fully active around September or so, actually.
Yeah.
So yes.
Yeah. So hopefully JWST does contribute to it. So JWST meaning JSON Web Server Space Tokens. JSON Web Space Tokens.
It's James Webb Space Telescope.
I think
JWST.
I think another way is philosophical wise is that if there's gonna be a lockdown again, we're gonna start to question our reality.
Yeah.
Another kind of breakthrough.
But there is actually
that you can actually work from home, right? The reality is a lot of stuff that you do that in the office can actually be done from home.
And also like how much I
managers are
miss
figuring
going
it
out at night.
Yes. Tamagotchi, there's quite a number of release of product and extension of the same product.
There's a few reboot, something like that, right, this year.
Correct. So it's not a true rediscovery, but they make enough. If they keep making it, apparently people do want to buy it. So I think that if anything, that's something. More Vis 5, this confirmed. Remote working is here to stay. So far, still true.
Yes.
Intel price will remain for a while. Actually, this is actually pretty good. Actually, Intel price did not go lower, but they do release
because
more
the
thing.
supply chain issue.
Correct.
It's nobody's managed to kill it. Like, and especially when Intel is getting into the next version and also like dipping into GPU, it might give them a pretty good start, good headroom to
since
get into.
Only Intel has the fabs, but the Intel fabs though don't have the nanometer technology by TSMC.
They still use
so that's the only thing.
TSMC though for the next gen.
Correct. Yeah, so which is why they want to set it up in the US.
Yeah, the Intel fabs don't have the technology for their like 5 nanometer technology. They still are old. That's the problem with the previous strategy by Intel, right? They wanted to own the whole supply chain, which works for them, but they just couldn't break through the technology. The market moved to a different technology that they don't have the vertical supply chain for. That's why they couldn't move out of their position until they finally sent out like the 12th gen, which is actually on a different fab than what they're using right now. And then now they're moving into to the GPU things, which is going to be very exciting for again machine learning, because right now most of machine learning is via NVIDIA. Like a lot of the libraries are on NVIDIA, but and the problem is that with its shortages of the cards to do machine learning, you can't really do a lot of things. Like you can't do fast machine learning, but with availability of the Intel Arc GPUs,
also with the rising trend of I mean in the I think this year there was a spike in the price of cryptocurrency.
Correct.
Sort of also contributed to that.
But now it's crashed and it's
not crashed. It's not crashing. It's just going through its roller coaster moment. It's still gonna go
up. Yeah, it will go up, but it did crash. But the price did get lower from what I got.
It won't get lower, I would say. It's just gonna keep increasing.
Yep. So the next one, Liana also have one, but we don't complain about our guest. We complain about our user. So more hardware accelerator, this comes in surprising place. So when Apple M1 release, they actually do have AI accelerator. So the professional Macs that recently got released do have hardware support for TensorFlow training with a very good power output and all that. I'm wrong at this part, and this is just for fun. This is just for the lore.
I'm surprised it's that good, the Apple M1, and also the way they design the OC makes I mean the reduced latency and everything just
correct. So they do a lot of stuff that scares the developer, but unfortunately,
more compelling hardware, yes, in the line, but unfortunately not within this year.
Correct. So for Apple, yes, the developers already move on anyway, most of it. So people that use Apple will just use Apple. People that are on the fence might move over, but PC user will be PC user. So
meanwhile, something that contributes to the ARM in terms of gaming is the introduction of Steam Deck.
Yeah, correct.
Which it's not ARM or Linux as well. So
correct.
Not
so
ARM actually.
So I'm going to put two prediction. It's not so much a prediction, but it's a continuing trend. This one is continuing a continuing trend. Better Linux gaming.
It's gonna come. It's already pretty good. Proton is already pretty good. You can run. You can already run most game, and even some of the anti-cheat will be supported next year.
Correct. Linux gaming going to more mainstream because it's as Linus said, the PC people tend to mess around with things will break. So this is something I hope, I wish, more mainstream. That's one. The other one.
Well, before Linux gaming becomes mainstream, then the Linux desktop should become mainstream. But
well,
there you say
it already happened.
There you say next year is the year of Linux desktop.
No, I'm going to say this: 2020 is the year of Linux desktop. You know why? Because Microsoft put WSL enabling full Linux support while having a Windows desktop.
That doesn't count.
It already happened. So, be right back. So you guys start your prediction. I'll be back.
Okay.
Well, you can't do anything with the sheet, though. I don't get what he's saying. Yeah, but would you consider the Steam Deck as a Linux desktop?
I would consider that it is.
Is it a console?
Remember the Ubuntu phone last time? It sort of reminded me of that, where some sort of try to do something like that, but it's not full blown Linux.
But is that called a desktop, right? Is it considered a desktop? Just like an Xbox console, is it a Windows desktop? Since it's really practically running the Windows
kernel. But if the host operating system is there for you to use, then it's a desktop. Because
and also
I can treat the Steam Deck as like a dock version. I mean a portable version of a desktop because I have access to the root system.
And more importantly, the desktop is the desktop environment is not like a frame buffer device, right? It's not a weird frame buffer thing. It is based on your X server, your GNOME. I believe it's GNOME.
Which are the sucky one? I hope
it's
gonna be.
So that's one.
It's not easy, you have to find the balance between security and
correct
support of this.
I forget what's my second prediction. I'm going to add yours.
Which I forgot.
Okay, Nicholas have one. What's Nicholas say on the chat again?
Oh, what's that?
Companion board
engineering arts.
No, it's not. It's not so much. Okay, it's not prediction. It's already happening. Okay, fine.
You put it in.
But here's another one. Chip supply will be restored.
Not gonna happen.
Restore mostly. Okay, here's mostly, and you know why I think this way? It goes like this. Japan is setting up their own fab with TSMC. So TSMC
but the thing about fab is that at least you need a year or two. I mean, even though it's finished now, you still need some time to be operational.
Correct. It's true, but I'm hoping that because of the need that may accelerate a bit because they're not building new technology, they're bringing stuff over for TSMC, so it will help cover at least on PS5 side and automotive. Then the US is a bit harder because in the US they do try to build another actual fab to make to get it running in the US. So I'm hoping that would take a bit longer because it's just happening lah. Then and also there's a lot of issue in the US because it's a collaboration between IBM and Intel. IBM don't want to go to this business anymore. They have the technology, but they just as in they can design chip and all that, but they just don't want to make it anymore. They would prefer to
sitting
outsource
on their
it because
patents with money rolling in.
Correct. So they just do the research. That's the main thing, right? And so that's the weird thing about this law. So I'm putting my bet here. I could be wrong. I could be wrong in end of 2022, but I'm putting my bet here. So any one of you guys want to put a bet?
I forgot. I lost it.
Okay.
It's a pretty good one, but I lost it. I remember it's good. It's good. So you can continue with yours first.
Chip mostly restored radar thinking. There's multiple of those. I mean, I know I won't be a rock star next year, so if there's anything. What else I'm going to predict next year? There's multiple on my head. I will get a PS5. That's given. So it's just too weird. It's just too weird for Sony to delay so long for one customer demography. It's just too weird. And even though for the chip, they won't want it and all that. So there's a lot of things I'm looking forward to in 2022 though. So for example, I'm looking forward to the new game. There's a few big re-release. Splinter Cell are being re-released. But Splinter Cell, the problem with Splinter Cell is the technology at that time it makes sense. The technology to watch the world at that time makes sense. But in current time, when you have a mobile surveillance technology, it means that you need to monitor your phone, your PC, your Zoom call, and all that. So Splinter Cell will be a bit weird. If they're going to stick it in the 2004s, it makes sense. But if they want to bring it to the modern world, it get very weird because now you need to have new technology to monitor new things. But on the other hand, in Splinter Cell, Sam Fisher works for the NSA. It's part of the NSA. NSA is a electronic surveillance organization. So yeah. Oh yeah, I have one.
The game I'm looking forward to in 2022 is Baldur's Gate 3.
That one, you can right? It's already on early access.
Yeah, but I'm looking forward to actually playing the finished game, not just the early access, because early access changed a lot. Like
they sort of spoil the fun. You get I understand. Like if you play it now, you get the early access fatigue.
Mm-hmm.
And you won't be able to enjoy it when it's fully launched.
So, well, there are some people who enjoy like following through all of the different changes and trying to predict what the whole thing is. So that's what they paid for, right? The early access, they paid for the enjoyment of figuring out what will happen. And then the actual game itself is like a cherry on top. It's like a side thing. Like, okay, I get to enjoy the game later, but I spent like 3 years trying to catch the developers during early access, like catch up and find and do theory crafting on the thing. Mm-hmm. And so some people like that, but I prefer playing the game as how it was envisioned. Which is why I still haven't played Cyberpunk, because I think Cyberpunk is still in early access.
It's not finished yet.
Yeah, I don't think I think it's in a very expensive early access. So when it finally gets all of its DLCs, etc., and when CD Projekt Red offers the definitive edition, then I'm playing that one.
Hopefully you'll get the No Man's Sky treatment.
Yeah,
I don't know what happened to No Man's Sky. I just forgot about it.
People improve quite a lot, lah.
Yeah, they got a horrible start, but they patch it over the year.
Yeah.
So like every year they get 1 or 2 big patches that improve the game significantly.
Correct.
The game that I'm anticipating is Elden Ring.
Okay.
Elden what?
Actually,
Elden Ring.
Elden Ring. Actually, another game that I'm actually looking forward to is actually Homeworld 3. Was it 3 or they give it another number? It's our new Homeworld series. Homeworld is a story that actually very similar to Battlestar Galactica, because as it turns out, the reason for that is the company originally want to make a game for Battlestar Galactica, but they did not get the rights. But the story is there, so they rewrite the story about traveling back to the home world. But it's very similar to Battlestar Galactica in a way. The Cylon is just another species, or rather another tribe of alien. So yeah. Go on.
But the difference is that the Cylon they look no different from human being.
Correct.
It's about the infiltration the Battlestar Galactica story.
Correct. This story plot sounds very much like Macross. Like they got teleported somewhere far out, and then you have the Zentradi, which look like human beings, and then there's infiltration. Then you get back to the homeworld, and then you get kicked out again because you've changed. Or sounds like the plot of Fallout 1.
Yeah. But in this case, so what happened is this tribe of alien are sent to the current their what they thought is their home planet for generation, because they are at a war, and for a treaty that they are not allowed for faster than light travel, so they banished to this desert planet. But after many generations, they forgot the fact that this treaty exists, so they accidentally rediscovered faster than light travel and break the treaty they do not know about.
Oh, that's a conveniently accident.
Correct. Because they discovered their ancestor starship, so they do not know about the treaty. So as a result, the desert planet got destroyed, so they have to go back to their homeworld. And it turned out that it's tribe. It's not explicitly stated, but they can communicate with this tribe somehow. So it get interesting. So let's go back to tech prediction. More specialized, more hardware for quantum computer. This one I put this bet is because there's beginning to be chip-sized quantum computer on a chip. So once you have that, then you are a bit closer to your GPU, which the GPU technology used to be from the supercomputers. They have some idea from the supercomputers. You have specialized hardware. So at this rate, it's coming from a big mainframe technology, which is very specialized to be very cold, to something on a chip, which is still expensive, very likely. But I hope that will translate better a bit toward the future. Hopefully, we get something that you can put on a GPU. Then you can do a lot of interesting stuff.
Quantum computer.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, but correct. It's not really a general purpose, right? It's only useful when you have a lot of branching.
Correct. So quantum computer is useful if you want to test all probabilities.
It's not useful for like arithmetic or your normal data processing.
Correct. But if I want to simulate gravity on Kerbal Space Program, it's awesome.
No, it's basically concurrency, like what you would use concurrency for versus like procedural code. Like there are some cases where you want really lots of concurrency, even though each process is slow, like each particular node is slow. Whereas sometimes you just want like lots and lots of executions in sequence, and you want it done very fast. So algorithms are like that. If you have an algorithm, you want to follow the steps as fast as possible. But sometimes if you search and fan out and then return back when something is hit, then that's a multi-concurrency thing. Quantum computers are great for that.
Correct. So you want to solve a path finding problem, optimize the path of the delivery. You want to use this kind of thing. So a bit more specialized, and people are using that for machine learning purposes because the layers are concurrent. So it's better to just run it on that way so that you can hopefully get faster. They do get a bit faster for one layer at least. So yeah, The next one is more interesting. Actually, it's more real, in my opinion. NLP technology is more pervasive, and here's why. Here's why. Uh, Hugging Face is the biggest. Is currently one of the biggest provider of transformer technology for custom use. Transformer, as in this for neural network, is mostly used for NLP. Nowadays, transformer is beginning to be used for image. So why it's called transform? Because they transform part of the data to understand the whole data itself. So in a way, they figure how to do it for image so that you can have like, there's an eye and there's a nose and there's a mouth, it's an animal. But once you see a cat ear, that's a cat. We have cat and whisker, that's a cat. So you say certain type of nose and certain type of mouth, then certain type of color, so they can transform multiple parts and combine together to make one prediction. So you can use that to actually predict. In theory, it should make things predict better because we humans learn this way. How do we know something is a car? So we know there's a round thing that is called a wheel, and we had a chassis and goes on the road. So we learn things part by part. But either way, it's commonly used in NLP because you want part of the text at the same time, transform part of the text at the same time, then make a prediction. So transformer technology is actually what people use for GPT, and also which is used for OpenAI. Now, why this? I think this is very interesting. OpenAI recently opened up their API for people to use with payment. That's one. Hugging Face, which I said just now, is they don't have their own big model. But they allow people to build GPT-like models, and they actually collaborate with AWS. So you have more text-based API for people to build on. But OpenAI is more interesting because the API is open and they work with Microsoft, so you automatically get that in part of the Microsoft product. And there is GPT-J. So GPT-J is a more open version of it. So you have more option and Google will open some of their things soon. So more of this technology will be available. Currently, not the cheapest thing. You probably won't be using this to generate a D&D game scenario. You can, but it's probably too expensive for it. But for summarization and all that makes sense. For spam filtering, it will be in theory a lot better than the Bayesian approach. But people don't use Bayesian approach anyway. So so NLP more pervasive next year. That's what I would think. Simply because the SDK is there, people can pay for it, and a lot of reason. So yeah, I'm actually looking forward to this actually. So you guys have no idea what you want to see next year, what you hope to see next year?
I have idea, but it's not really something I anticipate.
Okay.
And something that I actually had one, but I forgot about it.
Yeah. I mean, AR will still be big. That's one. AR will still be big. It's just continuing. They just they say they just hit up in a few places. There is things like the Apple glasses. Third party company making one now. Then
There's a few now that doing this.
correct. There is rumor that Google will return to the market after the whole privacy fiasco. So yeah, so AI will be there. It will still be there. Folded screen will get better, but I think when Samsung releases the Fold and the Flip, it's mainstream already. So I call that
I
prediction
think
from
it
last
should
year.
be getting more stable after the first few years of failure.
Correct. So I would call it beginning to be mainstream. So, uh, I mean, what else? I don't know because I do not see new thing happening because this year had been sucky, right?
Mm-hmm.
This year had been sucky. I don't see a lot of new thing happening.
If I want
I mean,
to
there's
put in,
possibly next year somebody might have a prototype fusion reactor running that actually produce power. They're
what
possibly
do you know?
portable.
Then you're gonna
There's a
solve
portable
our
nuclear
energy
reactor.
issue.
Yes. Hopefully, who knows, right? Then there's a
Or
portable nuclear
we had alien
reactor.
encounter that turned out to be not so
So
friendly.
alien encounter would be something more like a black swan because we do not know for sure.
Did you read the three body problem, the book?
It's depressing as hell.
The second book is it's pretty good.
Yeah. So by comparison, the invader is better than the alien that is actually out there. Spoiler.
It's
So
more like everybody is silent for a reason. Everybody is waiting for somebody to speak to raise attention. Then there'll be. I mean, everybody is trying to attack each other. It's like just like a game of battleship.
yeah, correct. And the reason is because if the resource in the universe is finite, therefore there's a finite resource for people to grow, then you should not know each other exists. So that's a theory in the book.
If I want to put in some prediction, I would put a few entries like the container storage, the distributed storage will get better. Still not satisfactory yet.
Yeah.
Container as in like Docker technology containers?
Okay, yeah. Where you can share across servers, like because unless you host it on a single server, if you have a distributed system, more like distributed storage, that is still not satisfactory for them. It solves the issue of resiliency, but performance is still not satisfactory.
Correct. There's limit of syncing and all that.
Hey, Swimming, write it down.
I already read it. Distributed storage will get better for containers.
The screen must be the screen share. Not updating.
Actually, it's on the other. Yeah.
So Tristan, let's put in a few entry. I had a good one, but I forgot about it.
Yes.
What is it about?
It's hardware. It's hardware related, but I forgot.
How about let's put in AMD makes a mobile phone or something.
I'll be happy if AM5 is announced.
And
no way I can get the hardware. More interest, more green tech. Probably better and
I have doubt on green tech investment here.
Don't talk about things here. It's depressing.
Yeah.
Let's talk about in general. Like it's just a prediction. Let's have fun.
Yeah. But one thing I would say is cheaper, more powerful microcontroller means more IoT prototype. I mean, this is a continuing thing.
It's not a prediction.
But it's not really a prediction, but you have a microcontroller board that is less than 30 ringgit now. It's like $5 a pop, and that is
not a fan if our government have a half-ass. Our government still have a half-ass policy about electronic.
Yes, it's about people want to make money and all that. But it's no problem to make money. That's capitalism. But if they want to make money half-assly, that's a problem.
No, the policy is from the state. It's not from the market.
Yeah. Yeah. But
from the state, it's not capitalism.
Yes. So somebody's friend want to go in and all that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's our usual thing.
Yeah, like it or not, Malaysia is a pretty much a socialist or communist country. That way.
Yeah, no, it's a pragmatic country with people in interest wanting different things. And this is how we got banned by Malaysia.
Everybody expect government handout. That is pretty much like that.
Yeah. You don't need
green tech investment is as in like more groundbreaking green technology, especially in terms of power generation. Yes. Power is one of the main topics because we are still pretty much coal reliant.
Yes, because the contractors that happens to be friends and all that still want to build coal.
Let's skip up the obvious killjoy.
Yeah.
Let's be a bit.
What's a killjoy?
Killjoy.
Killjoy.
Yes. Next year I will make a robot for real. Useless one, but at least it's a robot.
If I have time, I would like to build a drone.
Yeah.
Just to get to just something.
So yeah. So this is something more concrete than wishes of the big thing. So in 2022, I will be neck deep in the cloud in AWS. So I don't like it, but people use it and the convenience is there.
No issue.
Yeah. So I mean, I've already explored things like system manager and session manager. So people will not log in using a VPN or a bastion, but rely on AWS internal what they expose out on the browser or even on the AWS command and because they're using short SSH command internally anyway, and because I just don't want people to touch security group, so and all that. So yeah, I'm going that next year. Then as a result, system manager also a parameter store, which I need for reasons. So next year I'll be neck deep in cloud technology. So that's one. I do not know if I will continue on
Tristan hasn't
I mentioned about the AMD making a mobile device. Well, not
it's already happened.
Let's lock it. No, it's Tristan's. Just like your continuity, it can be a continuity more like more concrete.
It's already there. It's already there. Mobile device I'm going to mark this.
Like it's AMD branded, just like for example the Intel NUC, right?
I would like to
because AMD doesn't have an AMD something. Right?
Correct.
An actual mobile
I
device.
doubt they're gonna do it though.
We'll see.
Because it's not yet DNI. Yeah.
Well, they need to start pushing forward because Intel is catching up again, and well, I don't know if they probably should. So the problem with AMD is that there's a lot of companies that are still putting their Halo products as Intel. Like the best displays are Intel only, and then the AMD Ryzen versions are like lower tier, like second. It's more efficient, it's faster, but more cores, better processing, but you can't get a lot of the like nicer things, like Thunderbolt, for example, on the AMD versions. Even though people are willing to pay for those things, manufacturers can't put it in because they don't have the Halo products. Like they don't have the reference products. So I think AMD is going to be looking forward to doing that, like an AMD branded mobile device.
They should, because even their GPU, yes, a gamer will pick it up, but first choice, NVIDIA, right?
So I think because also in Malaysia, the distributor for AMD is pretty horrible.
Yeah.
I'll attribute to that.
Correct.
Often
Here,
AMD
yes.
is at a pricier price point.
Correct, because
And
just
NVIDIA
a bit
for
of
then,
improvement that want to jack up the whole thing is crazy.
no, it's the distributor. Yeah.
Yeah, but I do get a very good AMD laptop from a ThinkPad. Not the most powerful thing, but it's enough. I don't think I'm able
those
to
are
get.
distributed by Lenovo though, so I think that's
Yeah,
different. Those are
correct.
not aftermarket parts. Those are usually like if you order from Lenovo.com, that's their business school.
Yes. So yeah, I think this year the prediction is a bit bad, as in we do not have a lot. Let's see what's next year.
I'm gonna predict. Add another one before you close.
Yep.
Raspberry Pi desktop.
Yeah.
They've been crazy for these few years. So
Yep.
So that.
Yeah. And also next year, a bit more concrete, I'll be working on more JavaScript on small devices next year. So after years
Nicholas has a prediction.
Oh yeah.
Oculus is already here.
He should add it on his sheet.
Not officially lah.
Yeah, Oculus comes to Malaysia. Yeah, Metaverse, right? I do not know about this Metaverse thing. I like my real world, thank you very much. I'm not going to hide in the matrix.
No, VR is tiring. I would like to say. So I would like to spend more time with it. Yeah, but it's very tiring.
Correct. Actually, tomorrow is my real holiday. It's the holiday.
Is that streaming? I think streaming your voice is getting a bit distorted.
Oh, okay. No, I'm just saying it very softly.
No. I mean, you got some noise, some static. Oh, yeah. From your side. Probably cable contact or something.
Yeah, very likely. I'm investigating. I spend my tomorrow investigating all this because I got a public holiday. I got a holiday for public holiday. iPad desktop. The thing about education in Malaysia or around the world mostly, we are very conservative. So you go and tell normal people that you should use something that you're not familiar with for operating system.
I don't care.
Training. Yeah.
I don't care.
Correct.
It's our duty to push it to them. But whether they like it or not, I don't care, because we just need to focus on the people that we can help.
Yes.
That can benefit.
Yeah, we might need to go because streaming static is really very bad now.
It's chasing us off.
Yeah.
With that said, thanks for listening. Of course, the prediction will be updated most of the time. That's how it goes. We might fail again. Let's see.
Yeah.
So good night and
Good night. Happy New Year.
Bye. See you next year.
See you next year.
Yes,
What?